We got it figured out here. So. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call together our board meeting today, January 2nd, 2024. Can we please begin with our Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Begin with consideration of agenda items. If there's no additions, I have a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Kruger, second by Nagel to approve today's agenda items. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
With motion by Nagel, second by Kruger to approve today's consent agenda. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll now be looking for a motion to adjourn our 2023 County Board. Sine die.
So moved, Mr. Chair. Second.
We have a motion by Kruger, second by Nagel. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Administrator.
Thank you. Item number 4, election of board chair. We'll call to order the first organizational meeting of 2024 of the McLeod County Board of Commissioners. I'm requesting nominations for the 2024 County Board Chair.
I nominate Paul Wright. I'll second it.
Motion by Commissioner Nagel to nominate Wright, a second by Commissioner Kruger. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you for that honor. We'll now be opening up our election of Board Vice Chair.
That goes to you, Mr. Chair.
Yep.
I nominate,
I nominate Commissioner Kruger.
go ahead.
Okay, we have a nomination for Commissioner Kruger. Is there a second? Is there a second?
I can second.
We have a motion and a second to nominate Commissioner Doug Kruger for Vice Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Yep, but
I'd like to nominate Joe Nagel, and I would like to just decline my nomination, if that's in order. And the reason being is we've left them the same in the past for 2 years, and there's 2 years coming up, and it's an honor to be nominated, but that's my wishes.
okay, we will honor your request to decline. That puts the motion in place for Joe Nagel as Vice Chair. Is there a second?
I'll second it, Mr. Chair.
We have a second for Joe Nagel as Vice Chair. We now have a motion with a motion and a second for Mr. Nagel as Vice Chair of the County Board. I'll now proceed to vote. All in favor
Is
say
there
aye.
any discussion?
No, sorry about that. Is there any discussion?
The reason, I just don't, I want to clarify, I just had a brain blank there. This wouldn't have happened. I got 100 things on my mind this morning. I've had calls already. But, so when I paused there before, it was just trying to get the air bubbles out of my brain, so.
All right, thank you for that. All right, any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We'll then move on to consideration of agenda items. Commissioner Kruger.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I've made a request to add an item. I believe we found a K on administration to add discussion of the new Minnesota flag and seal. And I guess I'll just leave it at that. There's been some other, there's been another county for sure doing some action, and I just would like to bring it forward in K for at least discussion.
Okay, that'll be added as item K under administration. I think just to make today's action items a little bit easier, we will also, in our consent agenda, look at items E, F, G, and H and put those under administration as well. And they will be filled in as an item L, M, N, and O following the same order that they are in the consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, I'd make that a motion.
Okay, we have a motion to approve today's agenda items.
As correct.
Yep. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion by Kruger, second by Nagel to approve today's agenda items as corrected and changed for today. Any discussion on that? Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda, just as a reminder, that leaves items A through D, item I, and item J for the consent agenda. Motion by Nagel, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Luthens. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to our auditor treasurer.
Good morning
Morning.
and Happy New Year.
Happy
Yes,
New
you
Year to
too.
you.
I'm here for 2 items today to consider approving the appointment of 2 county commissioners to serve as members of the McLeod County Canvassing Board. The McLeod County Canvassing Board will meet at 10 a.m. on each of the following dates. The PNP is Friday, March 8th. The primary election would be Friday, August 16th, and the general election would be Tuesday, November 12th. My recommendation would be Commissioner District 2, Doug Kruger, and Commissioner District 5, Joe Nagel, because those 2 commissioners are not on the ballot this year.
Doug, you can't decline this one.
Looking for a motion to approve Commissioners Kruger and Nagel.
Mr. Chair, so move as stated.
Motion by Schmalz, is there a second? I'll second that. So we have a motion and a second to approve Commissioners Kruger and Nagel to serve as members of the McLeod County Canvassing Board. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, and item number B is, or letter B, I should say, is to consider adopting Resolution 24CB09 to establish and appoint an absentee and uniformed and overseas citizens absentee voting act, or otherwise known as UOCAVA, ballot board for all elections held in 2024 and 2025. In 2010, the state legislature enacted Minnesota Statute 203B.121, which provides for the review of absentee ballots in Minnesota elections, governs the appointment process, establishes who may serve on the ballot board, and the duties of the ballot board members. Minnesota Statutes 204B.19 to 204B.22 govern the sufficient number of election judges, appointments, qualifications, and party balance requirement. Ballot board duties begin approximately 46 days before each election and end on the day of election. McLeod County Ballot Board processes ballots each day to provide sufficient and efficient results to those voters. As the county prepares for the 2024 presidential nomination primary, state primary, and state general elections, the Auditor Treasurer has the following recommendations regarding the appointment of absentee ballot board members. To retain efficient practices in processing the absentee ballots and to provide transparency with the public perception, the McLeod County Auditor Treasurer recommends the approval of a combination of deputy auditors trained as election judges and election personnel staff trained as judges. All election judges working on the ballot board will receive additional training to serve on the ballot board.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Connie, for all that. I don't know if that's over and above or if this is normal procedure, but of the conversations that we had earlier, you did an excellent job of laying this out, and with that, I'd make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Kruger. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Kruger, second by Schmalz to approve Resolution 24CB09. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Connie, before you leave, can you actually, you've got the camera right now. Do you want to show that new plate or is that something we can't do?
Oh, I took it back. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, could you tell the
They're
place
real
that everybody-
concerned about our inventory, so I already took that back to the license center. The Minnesota blackout plates, they're called blackout, they're just all black and the letters are white. And also the Minnesota Vikings plates are available for sale now in 2024. There will be a $15.50 plate fee, a $30 fee that goes to that organization, either the state or whatever sports it is, foundation. They usually have their foundation set up. And then a deputy reg fee. So it will cost you a little bit, but we have a lot of people asking for this, and we are expecting it to be a good sell. So the Timberwolves, the Wild, the Lynx, who did I forget? The Loons, all of those will also be coming out with their plates. Oh, and the Twins. I've seen the Twins design, but it's not released yet. So we'll let everyone know on SharePoint or whatever in social media when they're available.
Not the Packers.
You'd have to go to Wisconsin to get that. Thank you.
Thank you. Health and Human Services, Barrett.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have two items for you today. Item A, consider renewing a service agreement with Hutchinson Health out of Hutchinson, Minnesota, to provide mental health hold order services for the period of January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, with funds from the Individual and Family Social Services Budget 11-430. Hutchinson Health will provide mental health hold order services as medically appropriate. These services may include confinement of persons, observations, psychiatric services, diagnostic and evaluation services, nursing services, family education and supportive services, group and individual therapy, medication admin, occupational and recreational therapy, and other treatment services specific to the patient's individual treatment plan. The mental health order services will be provided at a daily rate of $1,717 for the duration of the inpatient stay. This is a 3% increase from the 2023 contracted rate.
Okay, questions?
Chair.
Go ahead.
I'll move that we enter agreement with Hutchinson Health on the mental health hold contract.
Second.
We have a motion by Schmal, second by Luthens, to consider renewing the service agreement with Hutchinson Health to provide mental health hold order services. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item B, consider approving a contract renewal with Hutchinson Health to provide outpatient mental health services for the period of January 1st through December 31st, 2024, at a cost not to exceed $15,000 with funds from the Individual and Family Social Services Budget 11-430. Hutchinson Health will provide the following outpatient mental health services: testing and evaluation, group and individual therapy, services to clients after hospitalizations, medication review, medication management, and maintenance of effective communication with client's physician. The outpatient mental health services will be provided at the following rates. They're listed in your packet, and this is a 3% increase from the 2023 contracted rates.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
move as requested.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Schmalz, a second by Kruger, to consider approving a contract renewal with Hutchinson Health to provide outpatient mental health services. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Finance. Colleen.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
My item A is to consider approving Resolution 24 CB10 to establish a special revenue fund 25202 for the revenue and expenditures of public safety aid. McLeod County received a one-time public safety aid payment in the amount of $672,521 to be used for community violence prevention and intervention programs, community engagement, mental health crisis responses, victim services, training programs, first responder wellness, equipment related to fire rescue and emergency services, and to pay personnel or equipment costs. So Finance is requesting to establish special revenue account Public Safety Aid 25202 to receive and distribute such funds.
The motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Nagel, second by Kruger to consider approving Resolution 24 CB10 to establish Special Revenue Fund 25-202. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
I think it's good, and just as we're going through this, and who actually decides, I think the plan is good, but who actually decides if these plans go a certain way? Is there a committee or the sheriff, or how do we decide if that fund is eligible?
Right, this funding would have to go through the budget committee,
Okay,
and then there are rules and restrictions on that money. There are certain things that it can't be spent on, like a armored vehicle wouldn't qualify, or a building renovation wouldn't qualify.
so it's just basically our responsibility to go through mandates, lack of a better word, and get it that way, and then is the board approve them funds then after that's done, or are we just able to use it from?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
So it's just like any other funds, and that's why she's putting it in a specific one. If it goes over the threshold, then it would need to come to you. If it's not used for an approved expense. However, with it being just so, this one allocation, the budget committee will see a spending report, just like Colleen has done for the coronavirus relief fund.
Okay.
So does everyone get that, or are there any other questions with it?
No, I think it's a great, I mean, the fund, especially in one account, is great.
Thank you.
I just forgot, I mean, wasn't sure on who decided, but that sounds fine. Do we set them amounts? Excuse me. Do we set them amounts, the threshold amounts, or do?
There's set threshold amounts of what I am able to sign off on, what department heads are able to. It's all statutory requirements, and then it's the same as any other fund that comes to you. But we can sit down and go over it if you'd like to after
Thank
this
you.
too. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item B.
Okay, I'm asking you to consider approving or adopting Resolution 24 CB11 to establish Special Revenue Fund 25701 for the revenue and expenditures of statewide affordable housing aid. McLeod County receives statewide affordable housing aid to help develop and preserve affordable housing within the county. Finance is requesting to establish a special revenue account, statewide affordable housing aid 25701, to receive and distribute such funds. We received first payment in December for 2023. It was certified in December, and that was $114,903, and we will be getting that same amount in 2024.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
move Resolution 24 CB-11 as presented.
Okay. We have a motion. Is there a second? Motion by Nagel. Motion by Schmal, second by Nagel to consider adopting Resolution 24 CB-11 to establish Special Revenue Fund 25-701. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
County Administration, Mr. Nagel, you ready? Meetings?
Yeah. Happy New Year, everybody. My last couple of weeks has actually been a lot slower, which has been nice, but I do want to bring up for the people that are paying attention to it, which is probably just landowners, a ditch project on the north end of Hutch. I brought it up before. I just want to apologize to the landowners. We are just struggling with some things on this that I won't go into great detail about. We are working hard at it, kind of keep 2 steps forward, sometimes 3 steps back. It feels like on this one, which is unfortunate because I think the landowner meeting might have been the best one we've ever had.
Yep.
And it should be everything should just be smooth, but it's not on this. But just know that over the last couple of weeks, I've probably had a half a dozen calls or quick meetings regarding it, but we are trying to get it done. So that's all I have.
Okay. Not a whole lot the last couple weeks. Finished up our last board workshop. Also had the department head meeting, and also stayed a little bit close to the bid opening on our project at the fairgrounds, which we'll be hearing more about down the road. So that's about it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just before we get out too far from the subject, I'll call it out to Commissioner Nagel. I mean, it's the engineering costs on some of these projects that are just, my French, they're just nuts. I mean, they're very high. Some of these engineering costs are getting above the cost of the project, and and I appreciate Mr. Nagel bringing it up, because it needs to be called out, and we need to, we're gonna work hard on, and possibly, I don't, trying to get around some of them costs if that's possible. But moving on from that, on the 19th, we had our workshop after the meeting, and this week, I got notice that, well, I had a drainage work group stakeholders meeting, which is kind of the outlying counties, ag counties, talking about the situation with the drainage work group. Well, shortly after that, I've got notice that part of our drainage work group left the table, which means they are no longer interested in trying to reach a resolution or a compromise to ag drainage, basically, different flows of the river, and they are, where it's gonna end up right now, I'm not sure. Session starts in February. We need, I think Bowser's mandated to get a report to the legislature. What that's gonna look like, I just do not know. So I'll report on it as I find out. We had the department head meeting on the 21st, and then I also met with Ryan, the two Ryans, Ryan Henschen, our county attorney, and Ryan Freitag, SWCD, and on some buffer regulations that we're looking at. And on the 26th, Buffalo Creek Watershed Board meeting, 27th HRA Board meeting, and brings us to today. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kruger, and thank you for working on that drainage work group, as you stated. Continue to work on that, and hopefully some resolutions will come about. Since our last board meeting, we had a workshop here at the Government Center. That afternoon, I took a call on a culvert washout from a parcel owner in my district. On Thursday, the 21st, I attended the lunch that followed the department head meetings in Hutchinson. And then last week, on the 27th, in an unofficial capacity, I attended the planning and zoning meeting that was held at Solid Waste in Hutchinson. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Good morning. Only thing I have is I had been on medical leave yet and had 2 appointments at Mayo Clinic, so thank you.
Thank you. Attorney's office, nothing going to administration.
I just have one note with the public safety aid. I should have mentioned this, and there may be some further work, Commissioner Kruger, that needs to be done with a committee for those funds. The main people that have the areas of responsibility for spending those funds would be our county attorney and our county sheriff. So it's most relevant in their departments. There may be others, so if I'm missing anyone, if Barrett or whoever, I don't know. But we did discuss possibly forming a committee that would report into the board or the budget committee, so you might see more on that. They would definitely need to be consulted and have input on how those funds are expended. So it's not completely done with just creating the fund. We need the fund so that Clean can manage those dollars and make sure they're separate and see the interest, but there might be further action with that down the road.
No, and thank you. I'm secure in it, and I know a little bit about it, and I'm okay with that, but I can anticipate some questions and different meetings I go to. I hear other commissioners talking about it, and I gotta try to understand exactly what it does and doesn't do, so that's the reason for my questions, so thank you.
Thank you. Do you have anything to add, Ryan? No. Okay. I have nothing else, Mr. Chair.
Okay, go ahead with your agenda.
Thank you. Item A, consider approving the proposed 2024 County Board meeting dates, including the evening meetings for the Board of Appeals and Equalization and Truth and Taxation for the ordinary business of the County Board during regular County Board meetings and the ordinary business coming before the County Board as the Drainage Authority.
Okay, there's our dates. Anyone have any questions, comments, or motion to approve?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
correct me, Sheila, if I'm wrong, but there was a couple of dates added in here, Connie's here as well, so we added some for some drainage, meaning to clear up some open meeting issues. I believe that's why they were added. Is that right, Connie? I mean, we had one or two meetings where we had some questions on how many commissioners could be there, and by posting these dates, that clears that up. Is that right?
Isn't it, I believe, and without looking at a calendar and comparing it, I think we agreed to adding it, blocking out a workshop date for that, which also could be used as drainage, but I'm guessing these are the official meeting dates, although we could still post and use that extra, if you will, extra Tuesday for drainage or regular county
Correct.
business too. So,
Okay, well, that was my understanding, but with that, I make a motion to approve the dates. I mean, they're as best as you can do anyway. Sometimes, a lot of things happen between now and September, saying, or whatever, so
Yep.
I make a motion to approve.
second.
Motion by Kruger, second by Nagel, to consider approving the proposed 2024 county board meeting dates as presented in today's agenda. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. Item B, consider adopting Resolution 24-CB-02, awarding official McLeod County newspaper for 2024. 3 bids were received for the 2024 official McLeod County newspaper. The lowest bid was $4.15 per column inch from the McLeod County Chronicle in Glencoe, which has a county circulation of 1,625. The other bids were $4.25 from the Herald Journal in Winsted, county circulation of 587, and $5 from the Leader in Hutchinson, with a county circulation of 1,794. The recommendation is to accept the low bid and adopt Resolution 24-CB-02, designating the McLeod County Chronicle to continue as the official McLeod County newspaper for 2024. Just a reminder that this is a statutory requirement annually. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I will move Resolution 24-CB-02 as stated.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Schmal, second by Luthens, consider adopting Resolution 24-CB-02, which designates the McLeod County Chronicle as the McLeod County newspaper for 2024. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. Item C, consider adopting Resolution 24-CB-03, awarding second publication of 2023 McLeod County financial statement. 2 bids were received for the second publication of the 2023 financial statement. A bid of $83, insertion cost per 1,000 copies, was received from the Hutchinson Leader, which has a total circulation of 2,893. The McLeod County Chronicle in Glencoe also submitted a bid of $59, insertion cost per 1,000 copies, but the Chronicle is not eligible to be awarded the second publication of the 2023 financial statement because it was already awarded the official newspaper. The recommendation is to accept the bid and adopt Resolution 24-CB-03, designating the Hutchinson Leader as the official second publication of the 2023 financial statement.
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Nagel, second by Luthens, to consider adopting Resolution 24-CB-03, awarding the Hutchinson Leader the second publication of the McLeod County financial statement. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. Item D, consider adopting Resolution 24-CB-04, appointing Ryan Freitag, McLeod County Soil and Water Conservation District Director, as the McLeod County Drainage Inspector.
Move to approve.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Kruger, second by Schmaltz, to consider adopting Resolution 24-CB-04, appointing Ryan Freitag, McLeod County Soil and Water Conservation District Director, as our McLeod County Drainage Inspector. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item E, consider adopting Resolution 24-CB-05, appointing Ryan Freitag, McLeod County Soil and Water Director, as McLeod County Agricultural Inspector, and Adam Lesky, McLeod County SWCD Ditch and Drainage Inspector, as McLeod County Assistant Agricultural Inspector.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Nagel, second by Kruger to consider adopting Resolution 24-CB-05, appointing Ryan Freitag as our McLeod County Agricultural Inspector and Adam Lesky as our Assistant Agricultural Inspector. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item F, consider adopting Resolution 24-CB-06, Commissioner Committee Appointments, as seen in your packet.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Nagel, second by Kruger to consider adopting Resolution 24-CB-06, Commissioner Committee Appointments. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item G, consider adopting Resolution 24-CB-07, County Staff Committee Appointments, also as seen in your packet.
Questions, anyone?
Move to approve.
We have a motion. Is there a second? I can second that. We have a motion by Schmal, second by Wright to consider adopting Resolution 24-CB-07, County Staff Committee Appointments. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Finally, item H, consider adopting Resolution 24-CB-08 for Citizen Committee Appointments, again seen in your packet.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Kruger, second by Luthens to consider adopting Resolution 24-CB-08, Citizen Committee Appointments. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed. Excuse me. Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item I, notification of annual list of depositories for McLeod County for 2024, again listed in the packet. Item J, notification of County Board workshop following the board meeting on Tuesday, January 16, 2024, at the McLeod County Government Center here at 520 Chandler Avenue North, Glencoe, Minnesota. And then item K was added to discuss the Minnesota state flag changes by Commissioner Kruger.
Go ahead, Doug.
Okay, I had asked for this to put on the agenda so we could have the conversation. The deal is with the new state flag and the new state's emblem seal that I don't know if it was thought through properly. I mean, this is going to cost, we don't even know who. I mean, all the state seals and flags in the state, the police officer badges, and I think most officers have 3 badges. I mean, the list goes on, and I can't give you a number of what it's going to cost because nobody really knows. There was a nominal amount of money allotted by the legislature, I think $38,000 just to create the flag. And now where it goes from here, I mean, I have a number of reasons why I'm opposed to it, but that seems to be the main one. I mean, and I don't know that the old symbols, I could go into it, but I don't know that the old symbols kind of have character. It tells about the history of our state. I mean, there's a whole lot of things that I could consider. And one of our other counties, and well, it's Crow Wing County because it's been in the news, did make up a resolution, and they made it up at their last meeting, and they're voting on it this morning. And from everything I've heard, they're gonna have the votes to pass it, to send it to the governor and to the legislature opposing what this is gonna do, or at least getting numbers on who's gonna pay for what. I mean, I guess to go into much more depth of this issue is kind of, and I don't know where to go. I'm really happy that Crow Wing, these are my words now, I'm really happy that Crow Wing went forward with this, that at least the county is putting in their constituents' thoughts, and I'm hoping that more counties follow through, and that was another reason I wanted it on the agenda. I mean, it's in the, it only gets out once, and I would like to make sure we try to come with a resolution to this issue. I have some, I have the MRC, which is Minnesota Rural Counties meeting coming up here before our next meeting. So I was trying to get a pulse of where our board is at with this. And I mean, I've had a number of emails, a number of calls. I've been in touch with the legislators. Our particular legislators are all opposed to to doing this in the first place. But again, that's why it's on. And I mean, I'd like to hear if any of the other boards have any or board members have any comments, or I can add on from there. I mean, it's kind of new, and obviously without some prepared statements, and some has to be figured out. It's hard. I don't want to comment on something and not be telling you the whole truth.
Okay, thanks, Doug. I've had people reach out to me as well, and once news of Crow Wing's actions have kind of hit the news, and I can agree with that. And so I'm glad that you brought this forward today, and I think it's responsible for us to at least consider putting it on the agenda for our next board meeting to have that discussion and provide opportunity for constituents to be able to have a conversation with us prior to and during that meeting. So,
Mr. Chair, if I may. I just wanted to also say that from my office, like the certification seal that I stamp everything with will need to be updated, along with all of the marriage certificate paper, which is very expensive paper. And we just ordered a stock of it at the end of last year. So it just is what it is. I don't think these are going to be dedicated until May. And I have not heard any updates as far as if we can use old stock until it's used up, or, you know, what the requirements will be with that.
Thank you, Connie and Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
I mean, and that's some of the things that I don't know that were thought. There's been nothing said if we can, how long a time, and it kind of defeats the purpose, in my opinion. I mean, when do we come official? None of this has been talked about, and it is what really frightens me. It's kind of a done deal. I mean, they allotted this money, and they're unless the legislature changes it, everything goes forward, and it, like Connie said, it takes, I don't know the exact date, but in May sometime it takes effect. And the only chance to turn it around is through the legislature.
Thank you.
And I want to add one more thing. I mean, I'm prepared, and I didn't add, that was one of my first things. I have anybody can look up the resolution from Crow Wing County. I'm ready. I mean, I could approve this, but I don't think it's fair in our process. I think we should. That's why I kind of insisted to get it on the agenda. Is I think we have our conversation right up our own, even if we follow some of the guidelines from theirs. But I don't like to just rubber stamp someone else's work. So that was another reason to do it this way.
any other comments, or it looks like we have something for our next agenda for next time we meet on the 16th?
Is it in order to make a motion to have our administrator and our attorney to write up a resolution so it's ready for next meeting? I mean, I don't know if you need any help, but I'd be happy to join with that, to get a resolution out. Otherwise, we're gonna, or at our next meeting, we're gonna have to figure it out. Is that in order to direct them to work on a resolution?
You definitely can make a motion to that.
That's my motion. And
Okay. We have a motion to direct our administrator to draft a resolution to see in our January 16th meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Kruger, second by Nagel for that motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We'll now be moving on to the 4 items of our, that had a lot to do with our planning and zoning department from our consent agenda. So I don't know if, Mark, if you just wanted to just come forward as we work through those.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I did write down the new letters for this. You might want to note them real quickly, Mark. Item E would be L. I don't know if you have a pen on you. I just don't want it to be confusing for everyone. Do you have a pen to write the 4?
I do not.
Oh, that's
So-
okay. All right.
There's-
Sorry, I just don't want it to be confusing. So E would be L. F will be M. G is N. And H is O. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Mark, real quickly, I talked to you a little bit at time of agenda, but because there is possibly a conflict in one, and if some people showed up listening to one of these items today, that's why we pulled, or we didn't really pull them, but we're going to take them one by one, so just so
Mr.
you're...
Chair. So the audience members that attended were just here because their item was on the consent agenda, letter E. They don't have any conflict.
It's fine.
But we will need to read each one since, are you going to do that, Mark? Or
I
do you-
can, yeah.
Thank you.
So item E would be to approve preliminary plat JP 23-PP3 as requested by Kathleen Darnell to be known as Hidden Treasure Estate located on 5.68 acres in the southeast quarter of the northeast quarter of Section 30 in Hutchinson Township. The Hutchinson Area Township Joint Planning Board recommended approval at its December 20th, 2023 meeting. There was a public hearing held at that meeting. Kathy Darnell is asking for a lot split to split her existing lot into 2 lots. The second lot would be for a family member to inhabit that lot. Not that that matters once it becomes official. So it would be able for resale. There would be an easement on the existing driveway for that second lot.
I will move to approve.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
And I'll second it.
We have a motion by Nagel, second by Kruger to approve preliminary plat JP 23-PP3. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Item M is approved conditional use permit JP 23-C3 as requested by Joshua and Aaron Knutson for shoreline alteration on their property to remove vegetation, clear trees, and to place riprap on the shoreline of Campbell Lake. This property is described as Kleinkoff Addition, Lot 9, Block 1, Section 35, Township 117, Range 30, which is Acoma Township. The Hutchinson Joint Planning Board recommended approval at its December 20th, 2023 meeting. This also was heard at that meeting as a public hearing for a shoreline alteration. In essence, they're just trying to clean up what they currently have there. The trees and the vegetation that they would be removing is just on the shoreline. Any riprap placed below the ordinary high water level would have to go through a water appropriation permit from the DNR. So with that being said, Joint Planning did recommend approval for this request.
I'll also move to approve this conditional use permit.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion by Nagel, second by Kruger to approve conditional use permit JP 23-C3. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Item N is to approve conditional use permit 23-14 for Kevin Anvik of Chanhassen, Minnesota, requesting an accessory structure, which is a picnic shelter, on a parcel without a primary structure that is greater than 660 feet from the applicant's primary residence to be used for personal use only. This 29.2 acre parcel is located in part of the west half of the southeast quarter and part of the southwest quarter of the northeast quarter south of the Crow River in Section 9 of Bergen Township. The Bergen Township Board recommended approval at its December 13th, 2023 meeting. The Planning Advisory Commission recommended approval at its December 27th, 2023 meeting with the condition that the structure shall be used for personal use only. Any change in use may require an official control. At the last board meeting, I was here asking for you to table this and send it back to the Planning Commission. The reason for that was because Mr. Anvik did not appear. He originally applied in October. We have a 90-day, or excuse me, I screwed up on this last time. We have a 60-day requirement, state statute 15.99, that we have to render a decision by. If there's additional information requested and the applicant is not present, we can extend that timeline by an additional 60 days. Because of the fear that we would not meet that requirement, Mr. Anvik did sign an indefinite waiver. That is why I was at the county board meeting on December 19th asking to send it back to the Planning Commission. He simply oversaw it on his calendar. It was an error. It was just a simple error on his part. He admitted to that, and very grateful for the board's action to send that back to the Planning Commission for review. So on the 27th, the McLeod County Planning Commission did review that item, and they did recommend approval for that. And Mr. Anvik was in agreement that this is strictly for personal use only. It's a picnic shelter he had purchased from the city of Chanhassen, wanting to erect that for his grandkids, the opportunity to come out and have just family function there occasionally.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
question, the only reason the permit was needed is because of the shelter, right? I mean, you could put a picnic table on your land without having to get a permit.
That's correct. So the reason for the conditional use, he does not have a house on the property. And ordinance, McLeod County zoning ordinance states that if you are going to build an accessory structure on a parcel that is more than 660 feet from your primary residence, it has to go through public hearing requirement. This particular request, we had some neighbors that were, that had inquired in regards to what it was to be used for, but everybody that was in attendance at one point or another was absolutely okay with this as long as it's used for personal use only. They just didn't want it to turn into some kind of an event structure.
Okay. All right, any questions?
Mr. Chair, I would just like to accent or emphasize that, you know, you brought up on almost every one of these issues that there's some misunderstandings too, that we're not having a hearing. Well, the hearing was already done. I mean, so we're just approving or disapproving of what our planning and zoning committees do. I just want to, I'm glad you pointed it out and emphasized every one of those, because the public and constituents have had their chance to speak. With that, I would move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Kruger, a second by Luthens to approve conditional use permit 23-14. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And item O is approved conditional use permit 23-17 for Philip and Christine Schmalz to construct a second dwelling for family care of Christine's mother, Mrs. Ellen Brovold, in the same location as a prior modular home that was recently sold and moved off the property. Avani Dasani, who is a medical physician, licensed physician with Health Partners Clinic, mailed a letter stating family support would be beneficial. This parcel is 98.58 acres in size and located in Section 34 of Winston Township. The Winston Township Board recommended approval at its December 7th, 2023 meeting. The McLeod County Planning Commission recommended approval at its meeting on December 27th, 2023 with the following conditions. Number one, the second family care dwelling shall be a modular or manufactured dwelling. Number two, the second dwelling shall be removed, or the existing farm dwelling will need to be removed once the assistance is no longer needed. Number three, an annual letter from Ms. Brovold's licensed physician shall be submitted to the McLeod County Environmental Services to continue the use of the second dwelling. The reason for the removal piece is you can only have one structure, one dwelling per parcel in McLeod County without the conditional use permit and without the requirements of the conditional use permit.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I'd like the record to show that being this request involves an immediate family member of mine, that I will excuse myself from any discussion and abstain from voting on the permit as well.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner.
With that, I move to approve the permit.
Second.
We have a motion by Nagel, a second by Luthens to approve conditional use permit 23-17. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with Commissioner Schmaltz abstaining.
Thank you.
Thank you. we worked our way through an awful lot of the alphabet under administration today. We're now to the end of our agenda, looking for any open forum or press relations comments. Anyone wish to address the board? Seeing none, we'll be looking for a motion to recess until our next county board meeting.
Move recess, Mr. Chair.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Schmalz, a second by Luthens, to recess until our next county board meeting, 9 a.m. Tuesday, January 16th, 2024, at the McLeod County Government Center. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. We'll wait a few minutes and we will start our workshop agenda.